As the captain and her mutant dog step into the train, she immediately takes in the scene, a chaotic mess of smoke, tension, and failure. Her sharp eyes scan the fallen debris and winded soldiers, piecing together what happened before her arrival. One of her subordinates, still catching his breath, turns to face her. "How is it? Did you catch him?" she asks, her voice calm but heavy with expectation. "The target is extremely agile. He trails off, his words dissolving into the dense silence of failure. The captain remains composed. She doesn't scold. She doesn't sigh. Instead, her eyes narrow with resolve. This chase isn't over. Not by a long shot. The captain sighs. Her eyes lock onto the soldier as she says, "I wanted to give you a chance to prove yourself, but you're really a disappointment." The mutant dog walks over to the unconscious man, sniffing him. Then, it turns its head toward the hole in the train, the one the protagonist escaped through. Noticing her dog's reaction, the captain walks closer and says to it, "We're short on time. We need results as soon as possible." The dog responds, "I've noticed you always hunch over when talking to me. It looks exhausting. I might as well change back." The mutant dog begins to shiver. Its mouth opens wide, like it's in pain. In a matter of seconds, its body starts to morph, taking on a human-like form with pointy ears. Its blue eyes widen, still growling and trembling, baring sharp teeth. After a few moments, the transformation is complete. The creature now fully resembles a human. It turns out the dog was human all along, a being with the ability to transform. This ability, parasitic in nature, allows him to shift into a dog with enhanced senses. Far beyond an ordinary canine, he can identify targets with unnatural precision. The captain turns to the newly transformed mutant and says, "It seems like your animal form is more approachable." The mutant smirks and replies, "Is that so? In this form, not only is communication easier, but we can also show mutual respect." As they discussed what happened at the scene, the two stood by a shattered train window, their reflections framed by the broken glass. The captain, her sharp gaze unwavering, questioned, "What about the distance?" Her tone was calm but laced with suspicion, hinting at something beyond human capability. The mutant, with a cool demeanor and slightly disheveled look, responded with quiet certainty. The claw marks and the nature of the conflict at the scene, it should be him. His words carried weight, almost as if he could sense the entity behind the chaos. Below them, the rumble of the tracks echoed faintly as he added, "A newly formed spirit that has just possessed a human body is highly unstable. It couldn't have." His voice trailed off, leaving the implication lingering in the air. The captain stood firm, her commanding presence unshaken even in the dim light of the station. "Looks like we still need you, Grand Mystic," she stated coldly. "The Security Bureau is full of useless trash. They might as well be dismissed." Her words carried weight, laced with frustration and truth. Then, with a subtle shift in tone, she added, "Meanwhile, I could really use a talent like you by my side, Bu Feng." Bu Feng remained composed, hands loosely in his coat pockets. His smirk was faint but unmistakable. "Forget it. I'm not omnipotent. I'm not good at everything." His response wasn't just modesty, it was caution. Despite his power, he had no interest in politics or being used as a tool. The captain respected that, but the unspoken tension between duty and restraint was beginning to show. Bu Feng continued, "Every mystic has their own unique abilities. We're born different from normal people, so it's not convenient for us to join any particular organization." Then he said, "Wait a moment." As he began walking toward his seat inside the train and sat down, the captain followed him and said in a serious tone, "This is not the time to relax. We need to solve this as soon as possible." Bu Feng, on the other hand, signaled for her to keep quiet. He was sensing the energy of the parasite. Bu Feng closes his eyes and started to focusing his energy around him. White smoke started to gather around him as he started to track the newly appeared parasite. As he focuses his energy, he then started to sense the parasite that is trying to get as far as it can. Bu Feng started to see the buildings where his target has been passing by. After some time, he finally sees the target as it slowly to decapitate, returning to its human form. Back to Bo Feng, his sweat started to show in his forehead. He keeps sensing the parasite, but as he keeps going, a very large and strong beast appears as if it's going to swallow him. The beast opens its eyes as if it was very delightful, like a puppy seeing something delicious to eat. Its tongue starts to lick all over like it was very excited to taste its prey. Bo Feng, his eyes and mouth open wide. His face shows a very scared individual trying to get away from something. The reason to this is that the beast that has been tracking has actually noticed his spirit. Hence, it shows a very delightful face. Then the beast started to speak. Your tracking technique is way too creepy, but I am sure you will taste very sweet. The beast started attacking the spirit that was tracking him. Due to this, Bo Feng's spirit that was tracking the beast went back to his body. Foam started to come out from his mouth as if he's going to pass out any moment. He almost can't bear the consequences of tracking the beast. The captain noticed Bo Feng and rushed over to him. Bo Feng had knelt down and was vomiting. His condition was due to the overwhelming presence of the energy emitted by the beast he had been tracking. As the captain ran toward Bo Feng, she ordered a nearby soldier to immediately notify the medics. The soldier responded affirmatively and ran as fast as he could. The captain grabbed Bo Feng by the collar and urgently asked him for the exact location of the beast. Bo Feng, his face drenched in sweat and saliva dripping from his mouth, muttered, "District. District 9. The captain then raised her left hand, shouted, and called out, "Flying squirrel!" A man, surrounded by crackling lightning, suddenly appeared, kneeling in front of the captain. "At your command, Captain," he said. She gave the flying squirrel an order to pursue the new beast spirit. The beast spirit confirmed the command and began the chase. Lightning surged around the flying squirrel's body before he vanished into the distance, leaving only a trail of dust and electricity behind. After the flying squirrel had departed, the captain smiled and muttered, "When it comes to speed, no one can outrun the flying squirrel." The flying squirrel was one of the department's spirit-possessed humans, and he was under her command. Back to our protagonist. The boy is pacing, frustrated. He's had enough of this uninvited guest in his body. He mutters, then suddenly barks out loud. "Hey, how long are you planning to occupy my body?" The parasite doesn't flinch. No apology, no remorse. Just a cool, almost smug reply in his head. "We are one now. I'm already a part of your body now, like your limbs. We can't be separated." And then, they just keep leaping across city buildings' rooftops, like a human slingshot. They're fast. Impossibly fast. With each landing, concrete cracks and sparks fly. The city below is a blur. Glass buildings reflect his streaking silhouette as he vaults from one high-rise to the next. But not everyone's having fun. Chen Sheen muttered. "I mean, you keep jumping between buildings. I feel sick, and I'm afraid of heights." The creature leaps effortlessly onto the rooftop, its claws scraping against stone as dust and rubble scatter behind it. Below, a narrow alley stretches like the throat of a beast, dark, silent, and waiting. It's not safe down there. Who knows what sorcerer might be tracking us? The voice came from within, the ever-watchful spirit bound to him. Cautious, always. The alley may appear empty, but in a world veiled by magic and malice, appearances deceive. Sorcery clings to the air like scent on the wind, subtle but deadly. But our boy snaps, shouting, "Get down! I want to get down!" Mid-leap between towering rooftops, his voice echoes far louder than it should. "Idiot!" the spirit barks inside his head. "We're mid-air. Do you want to crash and die? Stop flailing." But it's too late. His squirming throws off their balance. With a chaotic twist and zero grace, they slam into a sign, bounce off a wall, then ricochet through a line of AC units like pinballs on fire. Down they go, crashing into the alley floor below with a violent boom. A plume of smoke and debris chases the impact like an afterthought. They don't move for a few seconds. Then comes the groan. That hurt more than it looked. He pushes himself up from the rubble, claws digging into the cracked pavement. His breath is ragged, armor chipped, pride shattered. "That hurt like hell," he growls, spitting blood, fangs barely retracting. His tone is less about pain, more about annoyance. The spirit inside scoffs. "Serves you right, idiot. Who told you to panic mid-air?" The silhouette of his spirit beast is showing up, annoyed. It scolds him sharply, its glowing eyes and jagged form radiating frustration. "Ah, Tilda, you stubborn fool. If it weren't for my outer armor cushioning you, you'd be dead," it growls, barely masking its irritation. Chen Sheen, clearly wounded and straining to stand, grits his teeth. The beast continues, "Great, now the skin's gone. It'll take a while to recover. Get it together. You're on your own for now." The tone is both scornful and begrudgingly concerned, implying a strong bond built on mutual survival, not sentiment. Then our stubborn hero stands up, still feeling the pain and barely able to walk, and says, "It's none of your business." His spirit beast then shouts, "Hey, you're going the wrong way." Around the corner, an old man dressed like a beggar, with a piece of bread stuck in his mouth, is being pursued by two soldiers. He shouts to them, pleading for mercy, saying he hasn't eaten in days. Over on the left corner, Chen Sheen was just about to step out from the small alley they fell into when he noticed the two soldiers chasing after the old man. As he looked at them, sweat started dripping down his face, and a flicker of fear showed in his eyes. Then, the silhouette of the old beggar and the two soldiers chasing him passes by the corridor, still pursuing the hungry man. Meanwhile, in a dark side of the alley, Chen Sheen sighed, closed his eyes, and says, "Phew, at least they are not after me." He then opens the lid of the trash bin he's hiding in and starts looking around to see if there are still any soldiers nearby. He just wants to stay safe. It'd be a real headache if any of them were still around and spotted him. Meanwhile, aside from being chased by soldiers, the city itself is still as busy as ever, unbothered, towering, and full of life. Chen Sheen and his spirit beast are still talking, trying to figure out their next move. "Where are we going next?" Chen Sheen asks, eyes scanning the distant skyline. His spirit beast responds calmly, "Head to the shelter first. You'll see a clock tower building when you get out of here." Chen Sheen was walking through the crowd, blending in as best he could, but his mind was elsewhere. His spirit beast's voice echoed in his head, sharp and serious. "You can't go back home now. The security bureau won't miss a single detail. They'll even drill holes in your walls." "Huh?" Chen Sheen mumbled, not slowing his pace but clearly distracted by the warning. The spirit beast continues, catching the subtle shift in his expression. "What is it? Do you have someone else at home?" Chen Sheen didn't answer right away, but the tension in his step said enough. Then he walks through what they call the Red District, where a group of women are busy trying to seduce passing guys. One girl even bows beside him, and behind him a couple of pairs are already getting cozy. But despite all that, Qin doesn't even flinch. His mind's somewhere else, completely consumed by worry. No, if I'd known, I would have deleted all those movies from my hard drive. The thought alone makes him cringe as embarrassment washes over him. They turned into another alley, one much quieter than the others. Hardly anyone was around, and trash was scattered everywhere, giving the whole place a grimy vibe. Chen Sheen still looked distracted, clearly bothered by his own thoughts. Sensing it, the spirit beast scoffed, "You're still thinking about that at a time like this? Humans really are something." After a few seconds, Chen Sheen kept walking deeper into the alley, his thoughts still swirling. But what they didn't know was, someone was watching them from above, hidden in the shadows. Suddenly, the silence shattered. Blinding flashes tore through the air, striking from above with ruthless precision. Chen Sheen barely had time to react. His instincts flared, but the ambush was already in motion. From the shadows above, the hidden watcher revealed himself, not as a passive observer, but a calculated predator. And then, without hesitation, they dropped, closing the distance not with words, but with force, ready to end it face to face. Then, a human-like creature with glowing red eyes emerged, clinging upside down to a pipe like a monstrous bat. Its body hung unnaturally, tense and ready to strike, while its eyes locked onto Chen Sheen with chilling intent. "Stand still where you are," it barked, its voice cutting through the air like a blade. Chen Sheen froze, startled, as the creature let out a low, mocking laugh. "Ha ha ha, you're not getting away." The tension thickened, and just as the dust began to settle, it continued in a cold, commanding tone. "You're under arrest. Come with us." This wasn't a warning. It was a coordinated capture already in motion. It then decided to come down, and with a few swift backflips from the pipe, the creature landed effortlessly, kicking up dust with every silent step. The way it moved was unnatural, too fluid, too precise. Then, its voice rang out again, this time with a twisted offer. "Or hand over the spirit possessing your body and we'll give you back your freedom." That word, freedom, echoed, mocking and cold. Its red eyes burned with intensity, locking onto Chen Sheen like a predator giving one final warning before the kill. As the tension thickened, it raised a jagged finger and added coldly, "If you know what's good for you, cooperate with me." Chen Sheen stood with a smug grin, eyes gleaming with mischief as he thought, "I know you can't accept this. We have to defeat them," the spirit urged in his mind. With a confident smirk, Chen Sheen replied aloud, "All right, I'm with you," locking eyes with the arresting officer. From within, the spirit screeched in disbelief. "What?" Chen Sheen muttered under his breath. "I meant cooperate." The arresting officer from the bureau stepped forward, expression cold and authoritative. "Good. Now, hands on your head, butt towards me. Kneel." The spirit erupted again, fuming with betrayal. You heartless jerk!" Suddenly, he launched a surprise attack, and as his body shot forward, Chen Sheen shouted, "You parasitic monster inside me!" He wasn't just striking at the enemy, he was calling on the spirit parasite within him, the very force that had altered his fate to help him. A blur of motion tore through the tension like a blade. His eyes blazed with defiance, and a grin of raw confidence lit his face. His fist carved a deadly arc through the air, momentum cracking like a whip. There was no hesitation, no fear, only pure, unyielding resolve. The enemy's eyes widened in shock just before the blow landed with bone-shattering force. But the enemy didn't even flinch. With terrifying ease, the arresting officer caught Chen Sheen's punch mid-air, his claw-like hand snapping around the young fighter's fist like a vice. The force behind the strike meant nothing to him. Crimson eyes glowed with contempt as the older man leaned in slightly, as if to mock the very idea that Chen Sheen could harm him. The shock in Chen Sheen's eyes flashed for a split second. He hadn't expected to be stopped so effortlessly. "Old tricks," the human-like creature scoffed, cracking his fingers with a menacing calm. "Boring little cunning moves." The sharp clack of his joints echoed like a countdown. Less a reaction, more a warning. Chen Sheen's bold move had failed to impress, and worse, had provoked. But just when it seemed Chen Sheen stood alone, the voice inside him burst out with unexpected joy. "Ha! I knew you weren't that kind of person," the spirit roared, his laughter brimming with manic glee. "This is the only weapon I can provide right now." With a surge of energy and swirling smoke, a gleaming crimson gauntlet materialized on Chen Sheen's arm, alien, jagged, and pulsing with power. Chen Sheen continues to attack his opponent, and with a serious face told his spirit parasite, quote, "Thanks a lot." Fueled by the spirit's weapon and his own resolve, Chen Sheen lunged forward again, this time with purpose. His fist, now clad in the crimson gauntlet, tore through the air like a meteor. The enemy moved to catch it, just as effortlessly as before. But this time, something changed. Clang! A jolt ran up the creature's arm. His confident expression flickered, eyes widening as he felt the force behind the blow. He caught it, but barely. "What?" the creature muttered, his voice laced with disbelief as cracks webbed across his palm where the gauntlet made contact. The mocking certainty in his glare was gone, replaced by a sliver of doubt. The beast snarled, shaking off the sting. But Chen Sheen didn't relent. With a burst of speed, he spun low, his momentum carrying him upward like a coiled spring unleashed. Crack! His punch connected squarely with the creature's chin, launching it skyward in a blur of force and fury. The shockwave tore through the ground, splintering the earth beneath them. But the creature wasn't down for long. It twisted mid-air, eyes glowing with rage and bloodlust, claws flaring with arcane energy. With a roar, it slammed into the ground, knees bent, claws digging into the stone as twin violet portals spiraled open behind it, runes ignited in the air, pulsing. It raised a claw, and the portals surged with power. He did this just to get back into his position and avoid being thrown more farther. Chen Sheen stood in the lingering dust, eyes wide with wonder, a huge grin stretching across his face. He held up his hands, almost laughing. "Wow! This knuckle duster is awesome!" The spirit parasite immediately snapped. "That's not a knuckle duster, it's a claw!" Before Chen Sheen could reply, the spirit added with pride. "And not just any claw. It's a divine tool forged by my fellow spirit companions. You're lucky to even be wearing it." Chen Sheen's grin only widened. "Heh? Lucky me." The officer's voice boomed as he readied himself to charge, eyes blazing red behind his mask. Attacking security personnel is a serious offense. Forced arrest is now in effect. But Chen Sheen didn't flinch. His glare sharpened, and his voice rang out, firm and defiant. "There's no way you're restricting my freedom, and handing you over would be so wrong." From within, The spirit parasite let out a satisfied chuckle. "Well said." Then, just as the tension threatened to explode, the officer suddenly froze, mid-motion, aura crackling but unmoving. Something in Chen Sheen's words had struck a nerve. The air between them held, stretched thin like a wire on the verge of snapping. But Chen Sheen didn't wait. He clenched his fists, grinned like a madman, and shouted to the skies, "Come and catch me if you can. I'll fight to the end." Crimson energy swirled around him like wildfire, his body practically vibrating with raw defiance. "Ha ha ha, I'm fired up," he roared, the air crackling as sparks burst from his armor. With a single leap, he launched himself forward. No hesitation, no fear. Just a boy against the system, blazing his own path. But just as Chen Sheen surged forward, a cold voice sliced through the tension like a blade. "You'll pay the price for your choice." The air trembled. From within the clash of steel and fury, his silhouette stood firm, face half shrouded in darkness, crimson eyes blazing with murderous intent. His presence was suffocating, like a black hole in the midst of war, draining the light from everything around him. This is the end of this video. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to get notified for the next chapter.